Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Super excited to have you here with us today. Sorry, we weren't a late start, but we were an involved start because isn't it wonderful trying to um, change thumbnails? But anyway, I digress. Super excited to be here with you guys. As you know, we're going to absolutely crush it today. We're going to talk about a ton of amazing and awesome things. Really just talking a little bit about the housing market, kind of what's going on in the housing market, but more importantly, kind of how and why, you know, kind of investments around BRRRR, kind of, how to create amazing experiences for folks. I think it's pretty amazing the stuff that I'm seeing on the regular basis when it looks like, sorry guys, just give me 1 second here. There we go. Golly. Anyway, but yeah, just talking about like amazing BRRRR strategy. One of the things that I think that, and happy to kind of share this with you guys, is part of my course is taking people from regular investor to elite investor. It's making sure that you don't make the big mistakes. It's making sure that you make all of the choices that maximize returns. This is the job. This is the difference between good versus bad. Cody Christian. What's up, guys? Good morning. Yay, crash, crash, crash. Just kidding. Yeah, actually, I would love a crash. I think you and I would both love a crash. The crash bros are ridiculous, but yeah, it's going to make so much money for all of us who aren't crash bros because we're actually doing something and investing money. But wanted to, talking about, kind of back to the main subject of the BRRRR stuff and even just regular real estate investing, a mistake that a lot of people make is that they pay retail. You're not a retail investor. And if you want to make real money, don't be a retail investor. You have to shop for quality. You have to shop for deals, but I will spend a lot of time doing those things. So for those of you who don't follow me on Lumberjack Landlord on Instagram, you should be, because while I don't come out with really good videos and shorts like Mike, Dion, and Cody and Christian, well, I don't come out with a lot of those. I do come out with stuff where I'm actually in the field showing you something that I'm doing, which is much less entertaining than the other guys I just mentioned, but just as valuable. Because have you guys literally ever walked into Lowe's or Home Depot or a lumber yard or an appliance shop and saved $11,000 on a $3,000 purchase? They don't make coupons for that. They just flat out don't. So one of the major mistakes that people make in real estate investing is not proper planning. Admittedly, I'm a planner. Admittedly, I can roll with the punches and I can pivot. Both of those skills are really important. On the planner side, what most people do and make mistakes is they say, I'm going to rehab this unit. And when I'm rehabbing this unit, this is the next thing that I need to do. No, that might be the next thing, but you need to be looking at the overall picture, how it all fits in. If you're doing a BRRRR project, in all likelihood, you're not going to need appliances for 3 or 4 months, right? For the most part. However, you've designed your kitchen. So don't you know what size appliances you need? Yeah, you do. I start shopping for those right then. Once a week, I actually will go in and I'll ask the local big box stores, when do you guys do your markdowns on your clearance stuff? Do you really think that I need to buy this matching kitchen package because some tenant is going to be offended that the dishwasher doesn't match the refrigerator? Are you crazy? What a waste of time. Now, you can do that if you're doing a massive development. You're going to get a massive deal on a ton of appliances. But last time I checked, 95% of you aren't doing that. You guys are buying appliances for a project, or you're trying to replace a thing. This is the value. I saved $11,000 on $14,000 worth of appliances. Cost me $2,900. That's it. And you know how I did it? It was really, really strategic. I know when my big box stores around me do markdowns. So I went in and then I saw what they had. And I was like, I have a list in my phone, just a few things in Notepad. Here's appliances that I need coming up. And I said to them, is that the best you can do? Yep. That's all. I just asked them, is that the best you can do? And no matter what number they gave me, it wasn't going to be good enough. So I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. You know, I'm a landlord, and so I buy a lot of appliances, and yeah, I can't do that number. But I appreciate you looking it up. I really do. If let me know the next time they're going to be in for markdown, and I'll swing in and I'll take a look. In most cases, they have codes on when they mark down, but in other cases, they literally write out the date on the note. Not even joking. They literally write out the date on the note. And these clearance items can be perfectly fine items that people don't like when they show up. They're not always these massively damaged units ever. One of the units that I bought is a combo in wall heat and stove and microwave. $3,800. Do I need one right this second? Nope. You know what it cost? I got it for $380, maybe $350. I have to look at the receipt. Cost me almost nothing. Cost me almost nothing. Guys, this is how you get from good to great and from great to elite. I understand my business. I'm an operator. I know what's going on. I know what appliances I'm going to need. But then I have the solutions that I've put in place that allow me to pay the least and get the best. And it's not luck. I know what the procedures are. I know what the processes are. I know what brands I shop for. I didn't buy a bunch of Samsungs. I bought what I use. I bought one of them was a Whirlpool. One of them was a Maytag. One of them was a Frigidaire, and none of them were white labeled. So this is the kind of stuff that I teach in my course. This is the kind of stuff you guys can get answers on every weekend right here in this amazing live stream. So I want to encourage you guys. This is an opportunity. Think about the margin that I just created. Now, were you ever going to spend $12,000 or $14,000 on appliances for one of your properties? Nope, probably not. Probably not. However, what if you had one project you're working on and you know you're going to do another one, and you can put the thing in your garage because you can pay for it, and you're buying it for 40% the value? Who cares if it sits there for 6 months? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And these aren't like a bunch of scratch and dents. There was literally one, kid you not, that had plastic on the outer door and it had a blue line down each side of it. The woman returned it. And I only say the woman returned it because the rep told me that a woman returned it. The woman returned it because she's like, that blue line follows right down through. Do you know what it took? Yeah. Finger, thumb, just like this. Yep. Blue line disappeared. Literally the rep goes, huh? Yep. That was a $2,800 fridge that I paid $890 for. It's a counter depth fridge. Like, honest to God with this stuff. So hopefully that encourages you guys. This is the way that you can make your projects elite and save money. That money that I saved is real money. I was going to have to buy those things for future projects. In fact, 3 of the 4 things I bought are going into units now. You're trying to tell me you don't have a unit with a fridge that's looking a little old, a little bit dated? Maybe you've already done a service call on it. Of course you have. Of course you have. Do you want to wait until it dies and then have to quick emergency, this, that, and the other? Nope. If you document your units like I teach you in my course, guess what? You know all the appliances you already have in place. You know all the ones that you're going to need. And when something fails, you've done more than one service call on something, Guess what? Boom. That's simple. Done. I bought it. I put it in place. Now I don't have to worry about another service call. I don't have to worry about downtime for my tenants. And I just curated an even better experience for my tenants. But anyway, I digress. Let's jump into the super chats. Cody and Christian, thanks for the super chat, guys. Appreciate you. And no crash, even though we would love one. I would love a crash. Brian Beck, thank you for the 99 cents, sir. I greatly appreciate it. And we'll start at the top. Anna K, good morning. Here, ready to learn. I know you always are. I'm thinking about doing BRRRR in 2023. My goal. So excited about this topic this morning. There are many things. I know, Anna, you're in the course. You are learning a ton about the things that you need to do in construction so you can do a BRRRR. I don't teach the BRRRR strategy, but I teach the things that you'll need to do if you do BRRRR or you manage your own properties, or you just want to understand what your contractors are doing in your units. And this live is a hardcore after a late night game last night. It's awesome. Awesome. Landlord Odyssey. Good morning, everybody. In the midst of demo this weekend, we'll be listening in though. Awesome. Congratulations on the demo. Wandering Doc. Is that Anna Kelly? It is not. That is Anna K. Anna Kelly and Anna K are two different people. Anna K is amazing, and she is a newer investor. Anna Kelly, massive investor, on one rental at a time. We've actually tried to connect for a very long time to see if we'd like to do a collaboration together. Just haven't gotten there yet, but maybe someday. Let's see. Corby Carter, good morning. Laser Focus Solutions, good morning, even though you're attracted. Brian Beck, howdy, good morning. Wandering up, what's up, Matt? Beard looking on point. Thank you very much. It's now contrasted against a different colored shirt. It's going different directions because one of my kids is a little bit sick, and so she's like pulling on it different directions. It's fine. I don't mind. It doesn't hurt that much. No, but I save 50% of my car insurance by switching to Geico. Geico, you owe me money now. Just kidding. Laser Focus Solutions, having issues with typing today. No worries. Doing college rental PMs with my mentor while hanging out with an elite of you elite folk with of you elite folks. All good typing this morning. No worries. That part of my course will actually be live this week. I know I thought it was going to be live this last week. That was my mistake, but it will be live this week. The Yoder, good morning. Yoder picking up after a horrible tenant left, but now onward and upward. Next tenant, more money. Good morning, everyone. Dave P. Oscar, good morning. Laura, good morning. Dion, if you want to be a financial free, hit the like button. Universe is watching. It will know. Way to bring the universe into it, Dion. Hi, Dion. Yes. Multifamily strategy. $350. I don't know what's $350. I don't know what $350 is. No. Yeah. $350. Yes. That's what I paid for it. It's $350 for, it was $3,800. And here's how that went too. I said, it looks like that one's had a number of reductions. Are you guys just ready to get rid of it? I said, he's like, well, I mean, we have to get something for it. No, sure. Let me know what the absolute lowest you can take is. I don't really need it, but I'm a landlord. So if you want to get rid of it, I'm happy to at least talk about a number. Yeah. $350 for a $3,800 double oven. Or oven and microwave built-ins. Like, honest to God. Ridiculous. Richard Camino, great morning, Matt. You as well, sir. Wandering Doc. Dion sent you a short to a friend. He liked your World of Warcraft sweatshirt. I had no idea that's what the logo was. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Let's see. Oh, just lost my. There we go. The Yoder. 30 people watching, only 7 likes. Come on, smash that like button. Thank you, Yoder. I appreciate that. Cody and Christian multifamily. I need 18 fridges right now. You could literally hire me to go buy those for you, and I would save you way more than what it would cost you. I am elite at buying appliances because they're very easy to buy. It literally takes you doing a few days. It's a few days worth of work. Anna K, do you buy store warranty separate on your appliances? Absolutely not, ever. Nope. If a company makes a product that is so bad that I need to pay for an additional warranty, I don't buy that brand anymore. Samsung. Seriously. Samsung has a freezing up issue on even brand new units. We paid $4,000. This was a high-end project we were doing. We paid $4,000 for a Samsung fridge, all integrated and Wi-Fi and all this other stuff. Kid you not, within 6 months, we had an $800 repair on that fridge. What a joke. REI Stoners, hit the like button. Yes, please, sir. I need a fridge. I was left with a fridge full of mold. I saw that. I actually thought of you, Yoder. So one of the things that you guys can actually do, you guys can actually do this. Go to your local big box stores, ask the manager what they do for when they do their markdowns. And they will usually tell you, yeah, we put stuff out on Tuesdays. You can just say, I don't want to spend, I can't spend a bunch of trips. And so you don't have what I need right now, but I'd love to just check in once a week. I don't want to call and waste anyone's time. So is there just the opportunity? Because literally I've got 7 of these big box stores within a half hour of my front door. So what do? Jump in my car, my truck, and I hit the southernmost one first, the northernmost one last, and I basically loop. It's just that simple. And making that loop, I know what days they put stuff out. So I might be a day behind or 2 days behind at another place. Usually they're pretty close. They're usually within a couple of days of each other. And I know what, and then I see what they're discounting it. And then I ask. I don't know. Ask not, want not. Just hit the like button. Thank you, sir. Sam Farho, good morning, sir. Can you roll closing costs in a loan? When is that possible? So it depends on your bank. It depends on your broker. Depends on if you're doing a creative financing deal. It depends on a lot of things, but generally speaking, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, generally speaking. You can certainly at least ask for a credit up to a certain amount. Usually it's 3.5%, but that depends on the brokerage, what they're doing with the loan. Some places will allow, believe it or not, up to 4%, and some are as little as 2.5%. That really does vary based on your lender. But yes, you can absolutely roll that stuff. You can absolutely roll that stuff in. Nick Ragland Johnson, good morning. Good morning, sir. John Texas, good morning, Lumberjack. Just before closing on a property, my agent assured me an adjacent parking space was mine. Turns out it's the neighbor's space. How would you handle that with the agent or the brokerage? Ooshka. I would try and find what the cost of a parking space. It depends on where you're at, right? So if you're in a condominium development or an apartment development or something like that, where they're condoizing smaller stuff, or there's a number of different things that can happen there, especially when you're talking about like parking spaces where you think it might be yours, but it's actually the neighbor's. I would try and look and see, like, if it's something bigger like that, like a condo, I would try and find out what they sell condo spaces for. That's the first thing I would do. Because you might have to buy another space. If it's from a housing perspective, yeah, that's a big issue. So this is the part of due diligence. It's just so you know, as humbly and as nicely as I can say it, it's both of your faults. It's their fault because they opened their stupid mouth without actually knowing what they were talking about. It's a little bit your fault because, yes, you're hiring that agent and depending on them to know what's going on. However, in a scenario like this, what are you going to do? Undo the deal, right? So you're left with not a whole lot of really good options, and that kind of sucks, because that space is worth money, right? So that's one of the things that I would look at is I would look and see if it's in like a bigger development, like what a parking space costs. And I would absolutely get the paperwork and the documentation to send that to them and say, I'd like, have an understanding of what you think you want. But I would be sending that back to the broker saying, you represented that this was the case and it wasn't the case. If you get no response back from them, I would involve their senior broker. They'll have a senior broker that you can have that conversation with. The challenge is that, like I said, it really does fall on both of your shoulders. However, the agent was yapping their lips and they didn't know what the answer was. There's a really easy way to not have the answer wrong. Don't say anything, or at least caveat it. I believe it's your space. Okay, believe, because if they said believe, you probably would have done more work to make sure that it was, in fact, your space. I'd love to hear more detail about that. Hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, man alive, that's horrible. That's horrible because that's expensive, that's expensive. But I'd like to hear more about it. KIC, good morning, everyone. Good morning. RI centers thinking about the FHA 203K loan. Yep. Have you done one of these? Yep. How do you run the numbers for this without knowing contractor costs? You can't. Only if you're in the course, I teach you all the costs. Like I could spend literally a day going through how you price everything. But that's the issue with the 203Ks is that you have to know what you're talking about to be able to at least ballpark it. Because at the end of the day, to do the 203K, you're going to have to submit a GC is going to have to submit all of the bids or all of the numbers for all of the projects. Now, a 203K full-blown loan is not capped by anything, except I think it might be capped by 50% of the value of the property. However, a 203K streamline is $35,000. It's capped by $35,000, but you still need a GC for both of them, and both of them have to carry, and you can't GC your own project, and you have to have the GC bring all the quotes. So it's a lot. It's a process. Sierra Smith, hit the like button. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you, Sierra. You're very welcome, stoners. Good morning, Hyder. Thank God he's here. Sam Farho, can you unlock interest rate before closing if a loan officer locked it? Not that I know of. If there's any brokers, real mortgage brokers in the group here, feel free to chime in, but not that I know of. I don't think you can, because it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? For them. So they lock in, but that protects you to the downside and to the upside. The only thing that you can do then is you could start the process all over again. Hey, Bobby Simpson. Good to have you here, Bobby. Appreciate you. Mrs. Furley. Hello. On my way to put keyless entry locks on my rental. I love it. I absolutely love it. We did 3 lockouts, or no, we did 2 lockouts. We did 2 lockouts and we have 2 more coming this week. I hope. Actually, I know we've got 1 this week. Bajan, good morning, sir. What's up? Just talking real estate, talking BRRRR, talking the market. Yes. Good morning, Hyder. So yeah, lots doing, guys, lots doing. But again, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, it's worth even opening up an account, even if you only follow me. It really is worth it. Now, if you open up an account, I would follow all the guys. I'd follow Cody and Christian and Zoob, and I'd follow Millennial Mike, and I'd follow Dion, follow all those guys. Even though Dion doesn't really post anything there. But yeah, we're all worth a follow. There's all really good shorts that we put on there that mine are almost always just a picture with a narrative to give you an idea of exactly what we're talking about. David Yang. Hey, good morning, everyone. I wish I could call all the crash callers all at once. Yeah. You need to have tons of inventory and desperate sellers to have a crash. Most people locked in low interest rates. Exactly right. It's what I've been saying for a year. Who is trading 2.5% and 3% and 3.5% interest rates for 5, 6, 7, and 8? 0 people. 0 people. So there still remains an inventory issue. Now, again, I've explained how I believe there's still going to be a correction. There's still going to be a 10% decline in pricing. And here's how you get there. The median number is what most investors watch. The median number, which means if you have 100 transactions, the median number is number 50. Well, most markets are comprised of luxury, the move-up buyer, and then the regular entry-level homes. Usually you're going to see fewer things. It's usually 15 or 20% luxury. It's usually, 30 to 40% move-up buyer. And then you've got 30 to 40% of entry-level buyer. That's typically what a lot of markets break up to be. And they differ market to market. But the crazy thing is that when the economy gets like it is, and a lot of rich people with these massive stock portfolios are down 30%, they're not buying anything. They're not. When all these white collar jobs, when all these people are nervous, the Amazons, the Boeings, the Apples, the Googles, the Facebooks or Meta, all these other companies are looking at the big banks, SVB Bank, or SVB, or Signature. Those are all really good paying jobs. Those are all largely, a lot of those are 6-figure jobs. And so they have decent homes. Here's the thing. Will they sell? They probably are going to try and find another job, which means that they could go into default. They could go into First, they go into default, or first they go 90 days late, then they go into default, then they go into foreclosure. And then it's a process to actually get them foreclosed on. And then once you do foreclose on them, then it's a process to actually get that asset back to the market. So here's the thing. This time, unlike 07, 8, and 9, everybody has equity because there wasn't a bunch of garbage junk type of loans in the market. But anyway, if we look at the median piece, and this is why I believe that there's going to be a correction and not a crash. The median piece, if you eliminate 80%, right? So in Vegas, 45% of the luxury transactions disappeared. What I mean by that is luxury transactions are down 45%. The move up buyer, it's about the same, about 35 or 40%. Well, if you take away 35 or 40% of one part of the market, 35 and 40% of another part of the market, what does that do? That means that those transactions disappeared. The issue is that in the median minus, i.e. the halfway point to lower, the currently, those are the transactions that are still moving. I think those assets actually stay strong or even go up because there's no inventory. There's no new homes being built. And you look at the new homes, what are they doing? They're mostly new homes that are higher than the median price in most markets. So that's what I think people need to watch out for. That's why there's not this big absolute collapse happening, because all the bad underlying debt isn't there. The stuff that's happening now is completely related to banks being too aggressive, trying to return capital on the money that they have out. That's what the issue is now. And quite frankly, banks that weren't properly run. But that's okay. That's the way it goes. So yeah, so to that end, David Yang, there's not going to be this big, massive force of people coming and selling their properties. They're just not. They're just not. And they don't, a lot of them don't need to. And the thing is that with the inventory being what it is, if I had an $800,000 house that I bought 3 years ago, I probably paid $600 for it. Does that mean I can sell it for $800 now? No, it means maybe I sell it for $7.25, but I still get out. I still get out of it. If I lost my job, I still get out of it. I still get out of it with equity, and I don't go buy something else, but I can go rent for a while, just because I want to make sure that I get a job, and I need to have a job if I'm going to go buy again, but I can actually rent because I can go and I can say to a landlord, hey, I'll pay you a year's worth of rent up front, write the check. That's likely worth it. I've had a couple of those scenarios, and knowing that somebody can get a job within a year, I'll take a year's rent. Sure. Sounds good. Does every lender charge different prices to buy down interest rate? Yes, they do. Yeah, it's nothing standard about it. Nothing standard about it. Every single vendor they charge different closing costs. They charge different points on loans. They charge different fees. Everybody's different. So I would look at Matt, the mortgage guy, because he works with U Mortgage. That's the company I believe he's affiliated with. And they actually do a great job of explaining fees. And for me, mine's very different because I'm like that time to make the donuts guy when I show up again to buy the next property. I know what my fee structure is going to be. It's expensive, but it is what it is because I have a more expensive transaction cost, but it's because I look at the rate and all the work that they do to alleviate me having to do work or my having to do work. When it comes to closing, I don't have to send them leases for 137 properties. I don't have to send them updated financials every single time we do a deal. I send them financials one time a year. That's it. I send them my taxes once a year. That's it. After they're done, period. I don't want to do anything more than that. Could I find somebody else where I could squeak another eighth of a point out of them? Maybe. Sure, I could. But it would take a Herculean effort. When we went through, we did a refi with a bank that wasn't one of our two core banks. That refi probably took 30 hours of my time. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. So great question. David Yang, they have no evidence of mass inventory coming. Agreed. They always show interest rates. Inventory for sale is very important factor. Yeah. And so a lot of places we see some increase in inventory. In some places we see decreases in others. You have 400 plus markets. Every single market is not the same. However, how do I know it's not the same? Because Memphis was up like 50%. Why did Memphis go up 50%? Why is no one asking that question? Here's why it went up 50%. big money entered that market because they were like, holy crap, look at the returns. The returns are sick, right? It was, we can do this project in Austin, or we can do this project in Memphis. We're going to do the project in Memphis because our cost to doing that, a cost of acquiring these assets, is a fraction of the price over what they are in Austin. And so these big investors, when they enter in one of these sub markets, and Memphis is technically a sub market, it's a market, but it's a smaller market. But when you look at Memphis, that's why the pricing jumped so much, because people really started doing the math of return on their capital. If we buy this asset for $10 million in Memphis, which is a big multifamily, right? It's a massive multifamily deal. We buy this for $10 million in Memphis. That's a big deal. But we buy this deal at $10 million. The equivalent in Austin is $50 million. So I'm going to buy in Memphis because my returns in Memphis are 2x what they are in Austin. People are looking and they're shopping for returns. So now the Southeast states in the Midwest, they're going to keep on seeing towns pop like that. You're going to keep on seeing towns like that pop because the big money is looking for a different place to find return on their capital. That's what they're looking for. Kip SOS, I appreciate you, my friend. Good morning. Thank you for the super chat. Sorry, a bit late. Under the weather. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I had my kids sick this week. That's no good. Nick Raglan Johnson, tenants' dogs are barking in yard during the day and neighbors have started to complain more. How would you handle this? Call the cops. Have them call the cops. Yep. Have them call the cops. If you've made that, if you've reached out to them and said that, have them call the cops. Because usually there's some sort of a statute that says this can't keep on happening, right? Like you can't just leave your dogs out for the day and let them bark all day long. Like there are usually codes. And the reason why you start with the cops is because it's a noise complaint. You start with the cop, stop with the cops. It is a noise complaint. They file the complaint. They take your notes down as the interviewer. They are the interviewers. You're the interviewee. Then they go to the neighbor and they have the same conversation with them. Hey, this can't keep on happening. This is a disturbance of the peace. Then there's usually noise ordinances or enjoyment. There's usually an enjoyment clause. And that enjoyment clause is usually in the city and they can point to noise complaints, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Dogs constantly barking is not acceptable. There are noise ordinances in most places. Usually it's stuff that's like before 6 or 7 a.m. or after 10 p.m. However, there is stuff during the day as well, for sure. So that's something that you have to spend a little bit of time on. But the first complaint that I would make would be to the cops. Because that is being taken serious. That's taking it seriously. So rates, as a Friday. Okay. 6.5. Okay. 5, 6. Okay. Okay. So yeah, so I can still get 30-year fixed rate debt at 6.5. And I can get 5-year debt on greater than 5 units at 6.25. That's my debt right now. If I want to buy debt or if I want to buy something. Nick, you're very welcome, my friend. Yeah. Call the cops. Let me know how it goes. Don't call 911. Please don't do that. Look up the switchboard number for the city. Have that conversation with them. But yeah, there's usually an enjoyment. There's usually code. Then the other thing that you can do is you can also, so after the cop complaint, I would then see how it goes after that. If it's still another issue, I would call the cops one more time, and then get another note, then get copies of both of those reports. And then I would search out the code and safety officer. What is it? Code and safety officer. So not the building inspector, but there's usually a health and safety. It's the health and safety officer for that town. And I would call them and I would make that complaint. And then they can usually go out and say something or do something. And they can say, hey, there's an enjoyment code of people being able to enjoy their space, not having dogs constantly barking in the yard. And here's what that code is. And then now they're on their radar. He might send you health and safety. I say he because ours is a he. He might say you have to call, there might be pet control in your city or town. So that's the general maturation. Cop, city official, specifically health and safety. And then see if he's the one that would handle that, or then see if it would go to somebody else. If you're in my course, you know what to do after you've had those phone calls. I'll tell you. You send an email confirming what you just spoke of. Now it's documented. Police report, documented. Police report, documented. Code official, documented. Next person, documented. That's what you do. And you don't depend on them to document it. They're not big on reports. They don't really like those. What's up, Millennial Mike? Thanks, pal. Everyone's favorite bad guy landlord. What's the boot camp topic for today? Boot camp topic for today is, what is it today? I don't know. I have to double check. Of course, Mike, you're asking all the tough questions. Boot camp topic of the day is, I don't know what it is. I have to look it up. Hold on one second. Let's look it up real quick. Let's see what the boot camp topic is. I had it written down and then I realized I don't have my thing on me. Like my board on me. Today is one, two, three. Self-managing, insourcing versus outsourcing. That's what today's is. Yep. Wait, one. Yes. Yeah, I think it's self-management, insources versus outsourcing. Nope. Priority documenting. Okay, it is that one then. Yes. All right, I missed one. Yep. Properly document. Yes, properly documenting. Yes, that's the one. Yep, self-managing, insourcing versus outsourcing. You got it, Corby Carter. Good job. Who's in the course? Corby Carter is. Good for you, Corby. We're ready for it. So yeah, Nick, you're good. Sorry, let me scroll up. I know I missed a bunch. I'm sorry, guys. Watch the beginning later. That's all good. Robert Farinelli, I did miss your super chat. I'm sorry, my friend. Hopefully today is winter's last hurrah. I know. Tell me about it. Hopefully. It's cold. It is cold here today. Cold and windy. It is below freezing wind chill here today. It's chilly cold. But the good news is I just got an $18,000 plow bill. $18,000 for plowing. Go ahead. Tell me how landlording is not work and how I don't do anything for my tenants quick before I forget all that I've done for my tenants. Let's see. Hider. Sierra with the hit the like. Always appreciated, Sierra. David Yang. Sierra. All right. I did sell my house at 2.8 rate. Okay, fine. And moved up to a place with a 5. Okay, so not 0. But you can call me silly. I know better and do better now. That's okay. So here's the thing. One of the things that we always want to talk about is specifically for us, right? So specifically for us, when I sold my house 3 years ago, I sold because I had to sell. I didn't have enough space. We were having more kids and I didn't want to move in the midst of my wife being pregnant. That's a horrible idea. And for those of you who have ever had a pregnant wife, you know why. And my wife handles it better than everyone else I've ever met. But Sierra's point is exactly right. You can get rid of that 2.8 rate. You can get the 5. That does happen, but there's usually a catalyst for it happening. The key is that's more the exception than the rule. That's why I said, as you noticed, 35 or 40% of those purchases disappeared, not 100%. So what I believe is we'll see more and more of those move up buyer and luxury buyers. We'll see more and more of them move out. Here's the other thing too, though. She could have also gotten a different property in a different town that was less money, less money per square foot type of thing. And so you can go from a 2.8% mortgage on a 300K house to a 5% mortgage on a 400K house, But the difference is that you got a lot more house where you bought, because you bought in a different area, and you bought in one that had a lot more value. So that's why you can't always say, yeah, no matter what, if you did this, it was wrong, because you can't say that. Well, you can physically say it, but it's not always 100% accurate. Rob, Matt, you, Cody, and Christian aren't very good friends. You're keeping Dion away from Diablo 4 on opening weekend. I'm pretty sure Dion's found the time. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. He's found the time. In fact, he probably has us playing on his phone right now, while he's got a headset on playing that currently. John, Texas, when my agent said the parking space was mine, we didn't have the survey. Yep. My agent said the seller's agent told her the space was mine. Yep. I'll ask the neighbor if she might sell it and go from there. Before you ask her that, you need to look and see what any of them have ever sold for. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. Because you got to have a point of reference. But yeah, this is the problem. This is why I hate agents. Sucky, sucky, sucky. All of them. They were all horrible. They just answered thinking they knew what the answer was, but didn't check, didn't know, didn't care enough to do their job as part of the transaction. So yeah, if an agent's offended by that, that's why I think you suck. Because you didn't do the work. Say, I don't know. Don't be so arrogant. Say you don't know. Say you don't know. I dare you. Say you don't know. Or say, you know what? I'm not 100% sure, but let me check on it. And checking on it doesn't mean you check with the selling agent. The selling agent is a doofus too. Ugh. Don't get me going. Anywho, Robert Fairnelly, missed my super chat. See, but I got you. I wonder if small multifamily will ever go down. New records set every day in Manchester and Nashua. So that's the challenge. That's why I believe, that's why I told you a year ago, the best investment for 2022 and 2023 was going to be small multifamily. Said it for all of 2022. The best investment for 2022 and 2023 was going to be small multifamily. Here's the reason why. I gave you guys the example last week, but real quick, here's what it comes down to. I can buy a single family home, 3-bed, 1.5 bath for $400,000 where I am. Aged, not nicely updated, but all right. Or I can buy a duplex for $550 or $6. Which should I buy? Well, the house at $400,000, 3-bed, 1.5 bath, that only rents out for about $2,500 to $2,700 a month. It doesn't really cash flow. It's kind of crappy. And the duplex, I don't get 25 to 27 aside, but I'll get on that same configuration, 3-bed, 1.5 bath, I'll get 2250, 23. So I might be taking a 10% hit to a house. How much more was my house? My house was 40 or 50% more. I'm only paying 40 or 50% more, but then times 2 on the rents. So what's my return there? My return is 20s, 30s. That's the difference. And a lot of people will go from living in these big, multifamilies, or even the smaller multifamilies where they share walls on both sides, or they share top and bottom, they share a ceiling and they share a floor. In a duplex, I don't always buy side by sides, but almost all of them are side by sides. Some of them are top bottoms, and that's fine. We do some things to insulate and do some things to cut down the noise upstairs. And when we put in new carpet, or when we put in new flooring upstairs, we put in a soundproof pad. We go to an effort to reduce the noise. And then we have, area rugs that we ask them to put down, that sort of thing. And we don't buy them ourselves because we know that that's like a style accent. But that's the type of stuff that people should look at. That's the type of stuff that people are missing, is that small multifamily, to Robert's point. Yeah, it's really good. And it hasn't gotten anywhere near the price that it should be based on how close to rents you get. Now, if you're talking about a triplex, even a triplex, there is some goofball in my market who bought something 5 years ago. I said no to the property. They bought it for $280,000. It was a 6-plex, but it was a 6-plex in a tiny town, and it needed $100,000 worth of foundation work, structural, and it needed another $150,000 worth of making it pretty. He did neither. And he just put it on the market for, let me just see if I can get down to the bottom of the questions. Oh man, there's too many questions, so I won't tell you. Actually, you know what? Yeah, go for it. If you guys all want to guess, you can guess or not, whatever. It's 950. I'll take this thing out. 950 grand. 280 needed 100 grand worth of foundation work, needed 150 grand at least worth of rehab work. So the guy would have been into it for about 550-ish, 525, 550. That would have been a good price for a 6 unit. That's less than 100,000 a door in that town. Done stuff in that town. Done stuff sells for about 150 a door. Done. So 900 is not a crazy number. If all that stuff were done, the building was resided, all the windows were changed out. If all that stuff was done, he's not probably horribly off on the number, probably 900, especially with what rates are now. But 950 and he didn't change anything, didn't do the foundation work, didn't do the rehab work. Like, nah. And I even said that to the broker because this was somebody that brought me the deal. I said, hey, listen, I'm not going to beat you up, but I want to give you some intel. I told him all the intel. He goes, oh, interesting. I said, if you sell for that, I own the building across the street. I own one 4 buildings down. I own one 6 buildings down, and I own one 11 buildings away. And I own one in the backyard. I'm your backyard neighbor. So if you sell it for that, please let me know. I'll be watching. Because if he does, my personal financial statement will improve about $2 million just on those 5 buildings. That's how crazy that number is. I digress. Let's see. Kip SOS. We'll catch the beginning later. All good. Farinelli. Yep, we got that. I think Manchester and Nashua, I think that those always get hit because your vacancy rates are going to go up in those areas. That's the first place they go up. But largely speaking, small multifamily, I think, is here to stay for a very long time because people can't buy homes. And if they can't buy homes, if you can't afford a $650,000 starter home that's 1,500 or 1,800 square feet, 3 bed, 1 bath, what's your option? Buying either a condo, which is going to be much more expensive, have an HOA and condo fees and all that other stuff, or they can buy a duplex and rent out one side, house hacking at its finest, or they can rent until they find the right place, but then they don't make the sacrifice and they say, I want the big enough space now. I want the bigger space now. So I'll do that. So then they do that. They pay less rent, less than, and they couldn't afford the single family house. And that's how it rolls. That's how I think it plays out. David Yang, I would never sell real estate. I've sold some, especially with a low interest rate. I haven't sold any with a really low interest rate. Such a good rate. I'm a holder. Cash flow is the best. Yep. Just move out of the house, rent it out, and buy another house. I agree. I like that strategy, David. I really do. I think that's right. Legacy up. I got a refund from my ACA health insurance after crushing my gig work. Yep. And rentals with write-offs. Life is good. Good for you. Good for you. If you guys are doing your taxes, one of the things I would encourage you to do, go over to DIY Cost Seg. DIY Cost Seg is cost segregation. It will benefit you in all likelihood, but they do a free 15-minute consultation with you for free. And there's a Calendly link that you guys can go grab. It's also going to be in this video as well. I think after we post it, it takes a few days, but if you go back and look at some of the other videos, it's just DIYcostseg.com. Use the 1000 lumber code and they give you a discount. 1000 lumber, they give you a discount. I'm telling you guys. And if you don't get the discount, let me know, send something to me and I'll make sure you do get the discount. But 1000 lumber, DIY Cost Seg, have the conversation with them. A lot of people are like, well, I don't really get that big of a benefit. What if you do? What if you do? They'll tell you. They can usually give you an idea. Yes, this is worth doing. No, it's not. I got a massive tax return because we did a couple of cost segs. Now, Ashley's a real estate professional. However, still people that don't have real estate professional status are still able to use cost segregations. It's worth investigating. It will literally take 15 minutes to 30 minutes of your time. You have a free conversation with them. You can click their Calendly link, set something up. And again, you can even put in the notes, Lumberjack Landlord sent me, but because I want them to see that our people are smart, they're educated, they want to further educate themselves, and they want to look at every advantage that they can get in this game. That's why you guys are here. But yeah, congratulations to you, Legacy Op. That's awesome. Hider, got my nail bags on. I'm ready to work. I love it. I love it. David Yang, or rent out the house and rent another place with lower rent. Exactly. Totally agree with you. Sam Firehouse, thanks, Matt. I'm not sure if you got my question about rolling cost above, but if you don't mind answering it, I did answer you. So you can roll costs. It depends much more on the lender, if they'll allow you to do it and to what degree. So that's the conversation you have with each and every lender, because you might find that the 3 lenders that you talk to or 5 lenders that you talk to are all about the same, but one has like some crazy thing that they allow to have happen. These are what we talk about when we talk about terms are the most important thing in a deal, not price. It's terms, because terms bring into account that maybe you can get a 5% seller credit. And at that point, you're better off paying more to get that seller credit, because you're only having to come up with 3.5% of that more that you're paying. Like, that's the brilliant part, or 5% more. Josh Berwick, true dat on median dropping, but entry homes going up. Yep. I smell what you're cooking. I would hope so. I'm laying it on pretty thick, Josh. So that's good. Dimitri G. Hey, Matt, why you don't like Samsung? They're crap. We had a good experience with Samsung appliances. You got lucky. Customer service and warranty service, they suck. They're a great blend of value and nice looks. They aren't. How many appliances? So this isn't a flex. I truly want to know how many Samsungs you own. Because do you know that 8 out of 10 of my appliance repairs are Samsung, and they're not 80% of my deployment? So let me know, Dimitri, because I truly want to have the conversation with you. I have very strong opinions on them, but it's only based on experience. I have nothing against Samsung. I think they make pretty looking. They're very beautiful. I love design. I love their design. That's why we did that high-end project with Samsung. But I love their design, but their track record is, I would definitely like your feedback, because I would love to have that conversation. And Nick Ragland, I really appreciate you having me be your first super chat. Nothing like being someone's first super chat. Dividend Dave, how are you, sir? Let's see. REI Stoners. I saw a listing that said pre-inspected, but that seems fishy, and I want my own inspection. How do you handle this? So yes, there is pre-inspection there. Well, so basically it means they paid for the inspector. Usually what that can mean is, so they will give you a copy of that inspection. There's nothing that they can do to change any of that stuff. Hold on, just have to, there we go. So getting that inspection report and reading through it, usually the reason that people do that is a couple of things. One, they want to have it pre-inspected to make it easier on the buyer to make a buying decision. Two is they get an inspector to walk through it and tell them all the things that might be wrong, and then they pick and choose which ones they want to do. Because if they find that there might be a $10,000 issue, guess what they're going to do? They're going to be like, well, I guess we'll let people just inspect on their own and see if they find it. Or they are made aware of that issue. That's what I don't love about it, is then you're technically made aware of an issue that you then have to address or cure or sell the property as is, knowing that this is what the inspection report says, because you can still deny or accept the exception report. Or you can even use that as a list bargaining tool of saying, hey, these are 10 things that they said were wrong. I want you to take care of those things before, if we were to buy it. So there's nothing really fishy about it. It's just part of a process. It's actually more of a sales strategy. Because like with older homes, on some of the older homes I've done a pre-inspection. And so I bought the inspection. I paid the $700. Everything was inspected. They created a full report, and I was like, oh, cool. So we then had a list. Here's a list of all the things that were critical, which was like 2 things. We did those. We had a list of things that were important, 7 or 8 things. We did all those. And then it was just left to like the inspector being kind of ridiculous, where it's like, I'm not going to rebuild you the house type of thing. And when they saw that, they saw the report and they were like, oh, could you just do these 2 things? Absolutely. Consider it done. It's a great negotiating point. So not fishy, just really more of a process, if you will, or a marketing strategy. Let's see. Hyder, question regarding the barking dogs. Would you not recommend going to the source of the source and documenting that first? From my understanding, there's an order of operation when it comes to notice. So the only challenge is that can it can go both ways. It can be a really big problem. A lot of people aren't really good with confrontation. So going to the source and having that conversation doesn't usually work. Because what are they really going to actually do about it? They're more going to be like, oh, that jerk neighbor. That's usually what they're going to say. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, we know our dogs are assholes and we're assholes too for putting them outside all day long and barking. Like, so I understand where you're coming from. My experience has been, I reached out to neighbors on stuff and they are complete assholes almost every single time. And so it's just like, all right, it's just easier to report you. And so it's just a regular phone call. Hey, this is the issue. But that's been when we've been like under construction or something like that, where they're like, they start calling the town hall every day. He doesn't have a permit. Yes, I do. It's in the window. You know, why is there dumpster there? Because I can have it there. I don't have to have a separate dumpster permit. I can have it there. It's unsightly. Build a bridge and get over it. I'm going to make the house nicer than yours, so it actually attracts nicer tenants than you are. So yeah, I have no tolerance for those people. I saw a listing that said pre-inspected. Yep. Okay. We handled that one. Corby Carter, you know it, my man. I'll see you in boot camp. I know I'm looking forward to boot camp too. I look forward to it every week though. I was 26 last night, probably only 40 right now. Yeah, it's cold. And you're in the South, man. Hyder. Legacy up. Not sure if it's because of the bank issues, but all three of my SFRs are now up in value. It's not because of the bank stuff. No. Mm-mm. It's not. Sierra Smith, REI. I'd see if the pre-inspection was because the seller was being proactive, knowing a lot of people waive them lately. It could make the buyer more confident. Or if it's from an offer that fell through. That's exactly right. If they're advertising pre-inspection though, Sierra, my guess is it's worth checking, but 99.9% of the time, if they're offering it in the ad, it's because they actually paid for the pre-inspection. But that's great point. Oops, I just slid down too far. Oh, Millennial Mike. Dion, you don't even know how to spell Dion's name, dude. Mike, we're buds. I know he spells my name with one T. Dion literally opened our speech at Cody and Christian's Hood, Robin Hood event yesterday, complaining about the fact that he was missing Diablo's opening weekend, and I was stuck there giving a speech. He's awesome. Mrs. Furley, would it be possible to record the boot camp and post them on the app? Yes. So we did, so we're recruiting the boot camps, but they're only available to the boot campers. I believe that when somebody pays for that value, I believe that the boot campers should have the access to all the boot camps. Other course folks, there's other stuff that we'll be doing for course folks. We actually have the first one, I think, coming up next week. So we're doing other interviews for people in the course. But yeah, for the boot camp stuff, we get really specific about their specific situations. And so really it's kind of, right now, we're leaving that separate for boot campers. However, we had technical issues the first week. Last week, we still had technical issues, but I actually recorded it on my phone. So that's actually going to be going up and being posted this week. Last week's is. And this week's, I think we've worked out the technical issues. I'm still seeing a bunch of warnings from YouTube, but hopefully they're YouTube warnings and not Zoom warnings. So I think we're good. Robert Fairnelly, both my real estate agents are encouraging people who can't afford single family to house hack. Yep. Or to just start house hacking to make money. Yep. One does it actively. She used to work with my other agent. Smart. I mean, it's true. I know your name's Glover, but I still like G Lover. I know your name is Glover, but I still like G Lover. REI Stoners, good points here. Yep. She did make great points. Price is only a single factor. There are terms. Yep. Multiple factor terms for sure. DJ Sanctus, love the hat. Thank you, my man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Quality Go Bang Parts by Magpul. Still not a sponsor. Someday, a boy can dream. I'd take it in trade though, just so you guys know. REI Stoners, note Samsung bad. Yeah, Samsung sucks. And I have 15 years of data. So they can argue the point all they'd like. But Dimitri, I would like to have that conversation. I'd like to know truly how many you own. Because that will, when you own like a set for like a house or a couple sets for a couple houses, totally get it. One thing. But I look at it in the aggregate because I own a little over 600 appliances. A little over 600. Why do you need big gloves? Just got big hands. So I need 600 appliances because I can have 137 units. Let's see. Just went LG for my house hack duplex. Thanks for your advice. Sorry, Jordan. I mean, just yeah, LG's better than Samsung. It's not tremendous. I still like the American brands. I still like, and yeah, I know there's parts manufactured overseas. Get it. Sure. For sure. Yeah, sure. But still, GE, Maytag, Whirlpool, and then like the upper end and Frigidaire, the upper end series, like Frigidaire Gallery, Whirlpool. I think there's this Whirlpool Gold. Maytag Elite, or it's the other way around. And then GE. It's not professional, but it's something like that. It's close to that. Let's see. There he is. Aloha, Mark. Good to have you here, my friend. DJ Sink says, never buy fridges with ice suspensions in the door. Water in the doors is fine. It increases the fridge components by like 40%. That's absolutely true, DJ. The other thing too is that you don't have to hook it up. So I like a lot of the features that the really expensive fridges have. And so like one of these ones that I bought, it has all that stuff there. It was counter depth. It has water and ice in the door, has all this other stuff. I just tell tenants, we don't hook it up because that's a separate line that gets run to that. And it always has to be run through the basement. And very often, because it's a smaller line, it's more susceptible to freeze. And so a lot of times we don't run that, and we tell them, we're honest. We tell them, yeah, we don't run it to it for that reason exactly. And then they're more than fine because it's still a good looking fridge. Usually they took some time to make it pretty. Sierra Smith, LOL. Funny you bring up that DJ. Yeah, first repair at my rental was on the ice machine, not dispensing in the door. Yep, true story. Millennial Mike, it was a typo. Voice chat got me. That makes sense. That's fair. I believe you. I believe you. All-nighter hider. When I say going to the source, I should be more specific. Dropping off a letter. Yeah, should be. Something not in person. Letters or email is documented. Yep, a letter would have to be certified mail, though. So true. The only challenge that you ever have is that most people nowadays, 20 years ago, it wasn't a thing. They'd be thoughtfully considerate. Now, most people are so bent about themselves that I'll march right over there. Oh, give me a break. Like, you want to come to my door? I don't think so. That's a bad idea. So yeah, so don't disagree. You can do it both ways, certified letter, having the cops get involved. I mean, for me, I pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for police every year. I'd like for them to do something for me. And for me, that's kind of an easy one. It's kind of a layup. And I want documentation of it, because what happens if you send that letter and then tires get popped, but you don't have a camera? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you do it with cops, then anything that ever would happen then thereafter is like 3 guesses, first 2 don't count, who did it, was retaliatory. You can't say that with just a letter, though. So that's why I just like it more formal. I find that the more formal, some people think it escalates. I think it de-escalates. It has everybody on notice that we're formal. That's my point. That's what I think. G Lova at Lumberjack. Haha, you're not the only one. True story, right, bro? I get it. 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 I can't say anything more than that. Just got a new pew pew last week. I'm loving it. It's good for you. Shamir Bless. Hey, Shamir. Hey, Matt. Howdy. In Mass, I think you don't have to supply appliances. And if you do, you have to repair it if it's broken. So yeah, that's very true. I in New Hampshire, we don't have to, you don't have to supply them, period. What you want to do is you want to have it aligned to what the local custom is. We provide appliances because if we didn't, every other apartment would have appliances and we wouldn't, and we would have a hard time renting out. But because everybody up here includes appliances, we also provide them. And yes, from a repair perspective, there's ways that you can put that in the lease. You can tell them that it's their responsibility to repair anything that breaks. But I don't think that's fair, because if you're in like year 10 or 12 on a fridge and something breaks, that's not their fault. That's my fault. That's the cost of landlording. And I'm going to take that out of maintenance. So I want to provide a better experience for my tenants. And I think I do it that way. If we see that something is broken based on abuse, then I will back charge them, because I can say it was proof that this was done, because you overloaded it, or you did X, or you did Y. But that's what I have the guys going out there and looking at, and they'll ask some of the general questions. That's why we use some of the same vendors over and over and over again, is because they're smart. They'll ask the questions to be like, okay, cool. How much are you actually putting in here? And when you do that, what is it? What does it make any sounds? They're doing all the investigative work. That way they're coming back and they're going to send me a slip and it says, yeah, they double load the washer. So it's going to keep on breaking because they keep on double loading it. And then it's something that you can get back to them. Same thing with flushable wipes. The landlord never told you they were flushable. In fact, the lease says they're not flushable, but you flushed them. You get to pay. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You win. You get to pay. So yeah, so that kind of stuff. Same thing with female products. Some females like to, for some reason, flush them. I don't understand, but they do. And it says in the lease that they can't. And when they do, when they get a $700 bill from Roto-Rooter, I still had to take the time. I still had to make the phone call. I still had to get them there. You still didn't have service of toilet then, but don't get mad at me. It was you. You did it. You were the problem. You were the problem. You did it. So yeah, you're going to pay for it. Yeah. Go to Matt's doors. He's wearing a Magpul hat. Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yep. What's really funny is the number of companies in New Hampshire, the number of gun companies in New Hampshire. Some of the biggest in the world are in New Hampshire. Live free or die. That's the state motto. Yeah, no worries, Hyder. Happy to. I think your counterpoints are great. I really do. And I'd tell you if I thought they were stupid. I'm not afraid to, but just based on experience, again, 20 years ago, it wasn't like that. 20 years ago, like I knew all my neighbors for all my properties. Now I know a lot of them, but I don't know all of them. And some of them have just proven to be like, I literally have a property that we wanted to take down the old barn because the barn's in bad shape. We want to take down the old barn. It's attached to the house. But when we do that, we want to put all the parking there in the back. So as part of notice, we had to give notice. We sent it out to all the different, all the neighbors within 400 or 500 feet. She literally took that notice. She went and did some homework on her own. And then she went door to door for all 3 surrounding streets and said, call the city and tell them you don't want this. Really? Really? It wouldn't impact her. It would be a whole lot nicer than her dump of a house. And it'd be nice for the neighborhood. I wanted to build that nice big area in the back. I wanted to take down this old barn that, while it might look very New Englandy, it's not structurally sound. I want to take it down because that's what's best for the property, for the tenants. And I want to take it down before something collapses the wrong way and potentially takes part of my house with it. So if she doesn't like it, TFB and see you in court. So we let it rest for that time because we needed to create better conjecture amongst the people in the neighborhood and show them this is what the plan is. Happy to answer your questions. It's going to look beautiful. Frankly, it's going to be nicer than every one of your houses except for 2. So why fight it? It's good for the neighborhood. Maybe you want your taxes to keep on going up. Listen, the taxes on that house that I will build on the other side lot, it's going to be expensive, but people are crazy. So anyway, just to that end, that's what I've dealt with over the last few years is people just really getting quite antagonistic. And I want to be the one to call the cops. I don't want somebody else calling the cops and have them showing up because she did. She called the cops about it. And every little thing, every time there was a noise or a boo next door, she called the cops. So she just became a real a-hole of a neighbor. So I'd rather do it now. I'd rather beat them to the punch. I'd rather be the one to call the cops. I'd rather be the one to initiate it. And it puts me in better position as the conversation, moves forward from there, is my belief. Flash of light. Good morning, Matt. Good morning. Do you replace working toilets on a newly acquired property if it's old or stained? It depends on how old. It depends on how stained. More what I care about is I care about the footprint I'm leaving. And I'm a convenient tree hugger. I like trees. I like forest. I think we should be good stewards of our land and such. I'm not militant about it, but if I see the opportunity, I'll quickly run the numbers. Here's one of the things that you guys can do. This is some of the stuff that we teach in the course, is how to run numbers on a toilet. No joke. No joke. You can run numbers on a toilet to see what it's actually costing you a year. So for me, usually those older toilets are 3.6, 3.2, sometimes they're 2.8 gallons per flush. You can get one that's a 1.6 and it actually does a pretty decent job. If you can get a 1.6, then you're in many cases going to cut your water usage in half just on that one toilet. Obviously showers and tubs and things like that don't change, but that's where you can start to run the numbers. And if you start to run the numbers of it's, 5 people times, 5 or 6 times a day. And so you're picking up 1.5 gallons each time, or you're picking up 7 or 8 gallons a day. Well, most towns sell their water in units. And so you can figure out the cost per gallon going down the pipe, A, coming into the feed so you can flush, B, going down the pipe because you get charged water and sewer. And so you can literally put a number to how much that toilet's costing you. So I don't do it just for aesthetics, but if I can pick up value and aesthetics, because most tenants don't pay water sewer, because on duplexes, tris, and quads, they are rarely separated out. They're usually one bill. So you end up having to pick that up. So that's one of the things I would take a look at. Yeah, so that's what I would look at. Stained toilets are gross in my opinion. I would change. Yep, but I'm also a contractor, not paying for labor. Also, Habitat for Humanity has toilets for $5. Just got to be picky, and those are hit or miss. You're exactly right. I would absolutely look at secondhand. But you know what, though? Again, run your numbers, because you might buy a $25 toilet that costs you more money, and you're like, damn, my water bill went up a lot. Like I have some high density units where there are 5 roommates. Well, that's 5 or 6 or 7 uses a day. It's a lot. It's a lot, maybe even more. Somebody has a guest over or whatever, somebody's working from home. It's not 1 a day. It's 2 or 3 a day. So you can go anywhere from, 5 to 10 flushes a day. And then if you figure the supply and the go, and so you're figuring, 10 gallons a day in, 10 gallons a day out, that's 20 gallons a day, because they charge you for both. So you're 600 gallons. That might be a unit of water in where you live. And if that's a unit, because they usually do it by the units, they're not nice and give you the exact gallon breakdown. They say you use this many units, but this is how many units are in a gallon, or this is how many gallons are in a unit. You could be, so you're doing 10 in, 10 out, 20, a typical month, 30 days. So 600 gallons. That might be a unit of water, and a unit of water might cost $38, $42. Guess what? There you go. That's going to pay. It's going to literally pay you to replace the toilet. So that's how I look at it. But I'm a nerd. So like that anyway. Sean. Hey, Sean. Welcome to the channel. I have a 4-flex under contract. 4-plex. Okay. Tenants pay all utilities except trash and water. Okay. Do you think it's a good idea to try and make them pay their own trash and water bill once I'm the new owner? Really depends. You have to look at what else is going on out there and how you compare to others. Depending on what the trash bill is. So I am in a town where trash bags, they sell them for $3.50 a bag. And you buy them 10 at a time, and they're $35. Here's what I will tell you. In most places, they might require a 4-plex, actually have a dumpster on site. If it doesn't require that, you might be able to ask and say, hey, you can have a trash fee because trash has gotten so expensive and you guys want trash picked up twice a month and it might be, 100 times each time they pick it up. And so it's $200 a month. And so then you split that by the fourplex and say it's $50 a month for trash, but now you don't have to go buy bags. You don't have to worry about bags. You can do that. But I would start first, I would see is after you buy it, I would want to see how the building behaves, see how the tenants behave. And if you have a dumpster, that starts to change the narrative too. Hopefully that's helpful. Robert Fairnelli, SIG and all those new jobs in our state. Yeah, tons of new jobs, tons and tons. Sig Sauer, Ruger, and there's a couple of other pretty high-end shotgun companies. Bajan, Sonic. Yes, I am. I still am actively buying. Yep, I am. Yep, the last thing I bought was about 6 weeks ago. So still actively buying, still trying to buy. I've seen some good deals come across my desk, but nothing great. And I focus on great deals. All-nighter. I had a crazy neighbor ask me to speed over sensors so that the city would see that there's people speeding on the street. Why would I do what we don't want? Exactly. Bajan Sonic, do you have a select few people to inspect the property while you have a tenant in it? We have a couple property maintenance people that we use, or handymen, that we also use. Also Section 8 for the units that we have that are Section 8, they do an annual inspection. So yes, but not all of our units get inspected every year. We usually are in there at least once, just doing like a heat system checkup, and smokes and stuff like that. So we're usually in there, within a few months of them moving in. And if it's bad, then we have a conversation then. Usually it's been pretty good. We haven't really seen a whole lot of issues there. Jan Vostrakov. Hopefully I got your name right, Jan. What's your biggest hurdle you're facing right now in your business? Biggest hurdle I'm facing in my business right now. It's temporary, but it's not renting season. So we know when we finish a unit, we're just going to wait another 4 to 6 weeks. We'll post it, but we're waiting. Again, we're being patient. We're waiting for great tenants. They always come into the fold in April. They just always do. I know my market really, really well. And the good tenants usually aren't moving October, November, December, January, February, March. So we've started to see a little bit of an uptick. But I expect big. I expected big so the biggest thing right now is quality of tenant, which will change, and handling the evictions. It takes a lot of time. So we're just getting through handling those evictions. No other challenge that we haven't really addressed. Yeah. DJ, I'm a new real estate agent wanting to work with portfolio owners to help them acquire and sell. Got any advice? Yeah. I think I see Jan's answer. He's exactly right. Yep. I think he's exactly right. I think you got to reach out to go to landlord meetings. If you're a landlord, that's one of the really big things that you can do is start going to landlord meetings. If you aren't a landlord yet, you should house hack. You should get into a house hack. That way you are a landlord. Because you'd be shocked at how few landlords there are in landlord meetings. There are more property managers in landlord meetings than there are agents in landlord meetings. True story. So that's one of the things that I would do. I would also understand. So I would take a course on wholesaling because they teach you how to find deals and find people ready to sell. And then you can just do the deal. You can just bring it to market in like a limited fashion to find out what your state rules and local laws are, because every state and local is different. And even company that you work for is different. But I think a lot of the wholesalers, I have one, I can't remember his name. I don't want to botch it. I'll have to post it. I'll post it in the response here. But he's great. He's a great wholesaler. He's really good. I know Dung Tai is a wholesaler. Dung Tai, who you see here in the chats, he's a wholesaler. Yeah, DJ, reach out to investors. Yep. And see what they're looking to buy. Yep. Then go there and find them. Yeah, absolutely. At first it'll be hard. Yep. But once you bring 1 or 2 good deals to an investor, your name will spread. It's very true. Well, what they'll also do too is I did this for a couple of newer guys that proved that they were really good at what they did. I actually said to them, I said, I'll buy that deal. I'll give you this much of a premium, but I want to see your next 5 deals first. I saw their next 5 deals first and I bought another one of them because it was that good of a deal. It fit exactly what I was trying to do. Yep. So yeah, Jan Vostrikov. But then again, if you do find a good deal, why not own it yourself? Exactly. Yeah. I think the big thing is in the beginning, if you can find a way to make that deal happen for you, certainly try and do that. However, it's best to start creating capital in those relationships and recognizing that once you get a house hack and you move into it, then the other deals that you're not ready to do for at least another year, then it's boom, 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 try and create as many of those as you can, put them into investors' hands like myself. I've bought, I don't know, in the last 2 years, I think I bought probably 7 wholesale deals. Wholesale, I bought another 5 or 6. Hey, they're not ready to bring it to the market, but they're ready to have a conversation. Where I had the chance to potentially close and get the deal myself. And I did. And that's the other thing too, is you'll start to find that there's guys that you put in front of people where it's low ball, humiliate, try and break, try and get the deal done at all costs. Doesn't matter about the relationship. You obviously don't want to put those people in front of a bunch of people. You want to work with people that want to buy. They respect the people that you're bringing. They treat them right. They give them a fair offer. And they don't make it personal. It's not like, oh my gosh, that deal sucked. No, it's yeah. So here's why I didn't like that deal. Here's why I did like that deal. Because there's aspects of every deal that I like. Even ones that I don't do have aspects that I like. And it's then just fine tuning that messaging and that conversation with that buyer like me, where when you bring me one, you're like, yeah, this is a done deal. I can literally spend the commission check now, or I could literally spend the fee on this now. So there's lots of ways to do that. How would you fill potholes on a gravel driveway? I've filled with crushed asphalt before, and it only works for about 1 year before I have to get more. So one of the things that you can do is they make a product called hard pack. What you have to do is you have to dig up the hole. It's not just fill it in. So you dig up the hole and you make an actual block. Maybe it's 6 inches deep by however big the hole is, and then go another, 6 inches or a foot past that and excavate that out. And then kind of, hard pack that down. They make those things you can rent at Home Depot that are good compactors. And then I would put hard pack in that spot. Hard pack is a product that they sell at a lot of places, but I like hard pack. It's worked really well for us. We have one that the other thing that you can do too is you can regrade it. But again, you're usually, I want a hard pack. I want to put hard pack in there because then I know it's not going to move, but it'll probably reduce the number of things that you have to fill or reduce the amount of work you have to do to when you actually have to do that. Shamir Bless, is it true you own a property in an LLC? You can't start the eviction process yourself. You need an attorney. I don't know that to be true, Shamir, but I believe so. Yeah. I believe so. I don't have any properties in an LLC, so I would only be speaking based on what I've heard. And what I have heard is that you can't represent yourself when it's an LLC. So yeah, when it's I have all my stuff in a trust, and then the LLC services those buildings. That's what we do. Jan Vostrikov, you said you were always looking to buy. With that being said, what are your goals? Where is Lumberjack Landlord going? Good question. No idea. We'll do the next deal will be a great deal. That's about all I know. I don't know if it's 4 weeks from now or 8 weeks from now or 4 months from now. The next deal we do will be a great deal. It'll be something strategic to us. We've built up quantity. We've created quality. And so we've kind of followed my method of acquisition, stabilize, and then optimize. So that's the process we will continue. Do you know if there is yes, this week, actually. It's sorry, guys. Okay. Laura Samanigo. Thank you, Laura. Ask a question, Laura. I appreciate the super chat. You can ask a question. So the goal is always just do great deals. Do great deals. But I've taken my portfolio through the acquisition, stabilization, optimization process. We hoped it wasn't going to be the case with the emergency rental assistance program folks, that so many of them would not have gotten a job, made other arrangements, had the ability to pay rent. So we've had to do a number of evictions. In fact, we'll do more evictions over a 12-month period than I've done over my previous 20-year period. But that was a strategy to help people. And so no good deed goes unpunished. It came back to bite us. I don't think it will cost me money. It's cost me time, which is money. But I have to look at the kind of the final numbers because we're in the final throes of that, getting rid of the last couple tenants that were on that emergency program, that were on it for a year or 18 months. And then as soon as that program stopped paying, they hadn't saved anything. They did have 2 new cars. They did have a 75 inch flat panel. They did have a PS5, but they couldn't pay rent. And so for me, I decided to, so they're gone. It's just that simple. Jan Vostrikov, once I purchase my first multifamily, how much reserve should I have before I decide to scale more? So that's really an individual question, Jan. Real quick, Jan. Nick Ragland Johnson, thanks. We'll check out the hard pack. Yeah, check it out. I think it's quite a bit more expensive, but it does a better job of holding in. And then you can also ask them, how would you do you have recommendations on how I would basically install this? I'm pretty sure the recommendation that they'll give you is, as I said, kind of cut out a hole and then hard pack this stuff in. But let me know how that goes. So Jan, once I purchased my first multifamily, honestly, the biggest thing, you have to skill up. It doesn't matter how much you've watched kind of on YouTube. You got to make sure you skill up, doing tons and tons, as much as you possibly can. Buying is the easy part. Managing is the hard part. Managing is the thing that makes landlords run. So that's one of the things. That's the reason why I came out with my course. Oh shit, I'm a landlord. Now what? But that's why I came out with the course, is that I was literally sitting at the closing table. I had closed on my first property. I didn't know what an estoppel was. I didn't know what my rules were around the existing leases. I didn't have a lease. I hadn't met the tenants. I had no idea what they knew, what they didn't know. There was a lot. There was just a lot. And so that's one of the things I kind of take people through in my course. It's about 10 hours, 9 to 10 hours of videos. And then if you're in the boot camp, it's another 24 hours of live chat with me. But yeah, that's what I would tell you is, I think that you have to decide what that number is for yourself based on what your business is doing. If you get a 4 unit and you're moving into it, you're going to learn a lot that first, year. But depending on what projects might come up, depending on what things you might do, that might mean that you're ready for another 1 year too. In the beginning, we were slower, and then we kind of sped up in the middle, and then we stopped moving into them. So I did 9 house hacks in 13 years. And that was worth its weight in gold. No, I don't mind you asking at all. Boot camp is $995. Oh, excuse me. The course is $995. The boot camp is an additional $495. The boot camp is every week for 12 weeks. And the course is take at your own pace. It's about 9 or 10 hours of content, and it's got 17 or 18 supporting documents, which are all the things that I use to run my business. That's what it is. Robert Farinelli, evicted tenant having a PS5. LOL. I know, right? And here I am as a landlord selling off part of my video game collection from yard selling the last 10 years to put myself in a better position. Totally, right? Like, this is the thing. Like, literally the sheriff walked through the door and he goes, And so we know the sheriff because he's done some lockouts for us in the last 6 weeks. We actually request him because he does such a good job at them. He's great at de-escalating. And they're getting some stuff. He's waiting outside. He goes, 75-inch TV and a PS5. I don't even have those. Right? It's because you pay your rent, though. Way it goes. Matt, thanks so much for all you do. Laura Samaniego. Oh, you're very welcome. Laura, my pleasure. You answered my question already. I'm just showing appreciation. I appreciate that. I learned so much from your tips, not advice. It's so much appreciated. I look forward to this every Sunday. Literally, to give you guys perspective, I take time away from my kids every Sunday for an hour and a half to do this. The boot camp I'm paid for. But I do this for you guys for free because I want to help people the best I can and get them going on their journey or enhancing their journey. And then if you want to get serious about it and really go next level, that's why I did the course in the boot camp, is because I want people to dig in. And your TV is dumb. Yeah, I know. I have still plenty of dumb TVs too. Dividend Dave, can we go over again what I missed? Memento style? Yeah, I wish I could. I couldn't do it that fast. That'd be a lot. But yeah, Jan, check out the course, like no obligation, obviously, but check out the course, lumberjacklandlord.com. Take a look at the course. The syllabus is there. The video on the syllabus is there. What you'll see is a lot of the folks that are here are in the course. Dividend Dave's in the course. Corby's in the course. Robert Farinelli is in the course. Yeah, there's a bunch of folks in here that are in the course. Anna Kay is in the course. I don't know. I don't think Sierra Smith is. And forgive me. I'm trying to remember these off the top of my head. This is probably a bad exercise, but yeah, a lot of these folks are in the course. Dividend Dave, he's in the course. Millennial Mike, he's in the course. But yeah, there's a lot. There are a lot of people in the course. Robert Fahrenheit, your TV is 7 years old. I don't think do I have a TV that old? Oh yeah, I do. I totally do. Yeah, I think we have a couple TVs that old for sure. I have a plasma TV. It's 16 years old. That's one of the TVs that we have. Yeah, mine is 14 years old. Sony rocks. Yeah, we bought mine's a Philips plasma. I like it. Cold TV. So hey Doc. Corby Carter, I have a 55-inch TV, only TV I own. Nice. I got it 75% off at the BX. Nice. Yep. It's a smart TV. Looking forward to getting back to it. I know, it's awesome. Good for you. Well, all right, guys, we're going to button up for today. But Lumberjack Landlord, please make sure that you guys come and hang out with us every Sunday. If you're interested in the course, syllabus and video are on the channel. You can click the link in most of the descriptions of most of the videos. Corby, also the course and boot camp are both a great value. Thank you, Corby. I appreciate that. That's what we're trying to do. There's a lot of newer landlords here. There's landlords that have never done one. I think right now in this boot camp, I want to say the largest landlord is probably Dung Tai. He owns 66 units. He said that he's learned a ton from the course. Obviously, for him, it's made a tens of thousands of dollars of difference for him. And it has because he has that many more units. But even for folks that have a unit or 2 units or 3 units, it's made a big difference because a lot of the things that I teach are the mistakes that I made along the way. And now we have a process around it. And that's how we do it. So that's what we do. So it's always a pleasure to hang out with you guys on Sundays. I'm going to go spend just a short bit with my kids, grab some food, and then I'll be ready for my boot camp at 1:30 Eastern time today. Guys, as always, we try and create great content for you. We really appreciate you guys spending time with us every Sunday like you do. Please make sure that if you're in the boot camp, that you're there on time. With looking forward to having a big class today. And if you have any questions, for those of you who aren't in the boot camp or aren't in the course, feel free. There is that course syllabus video. You can post questions there and I always answer them. That way you make sure you know exactly what you're getting if you do get the course. So I hope you guys are doing awesome. Matt just hopped on this live stream. I went to a duplex open house yesterday, on the market for 5 days and has 11 offers. It's a negative cash on cash return. Any idea what people are thinking? I know one thing they're thinking. I should have taken the Lumberjack Landlord's course. There's a lot of people that are buying negative AM deals because they don't know what they're doing. It's a different story if you're moving in and you're trying to get rid of somebody. But this is the stuff that I'm talking about. People are starting to make bad decisions. So that's why I know that there's not going to be this major collapse in the next couple of years. It's going to take years for that stuff to work its way through the system. But again, if they're moving into it, it's kind of a different story. So But excited to have you guys there in the course. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and yeah, looking forward to it. Guys, have a great week, and we'll talk again soon, and we'll see you in the next one.